Welcome back to the BTS Happy Hour podcast. I'm your host, Andrea. Joining me as always is Morgan.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Very exciting. This is the
day, the big day.
Yes.
This is like
the comeback.
The day.
This is what we've been waiting for.
Yeah, it's what you've been waiting for. Yeah, it's excellent. Hey, it's what everybody's been waiting for.
Yeah, the album came out. In our time, it was at like 1 a.m. on a Friday.
This is truly D-Day for all BTS fans. I mean, I have to admit, I listened to it at 1.
Wow.
I couldn't fall asleep, and I just, I'm awake, so I'll just...
You're like, it's out, so I might as well.
Put it on. Yeah, I'll just put it on. Put it on Spotify.
Do you just play it like from beginning to end?
Yep. I played every single one because I knew you'd ask me about it in the podcast.
Mm-hmm. What did you think?
Well, on one hand, the negative is that my favorite is still Ego. So I guess you could say it was disappointing in that sense.
So a song you heard already.
A song that I heard already is my favorite.
The song you like the most.
But as I listened to them repeatedly throughout the day, I grew to like them more, right? They didn't like catch my attention necessarily right away, but what was it? Close the window as soon as I fucking...
Well, I have a hard time when I listen to a new album deciding what songs I like the most. Like, I have to listen to something like many times before I decide, oh, this song's my favorite.
I usually don't. I usually can decide immediately.
Yeah, you're good with that. Like making...
Yeah, so basically, I immediately identified that my favorites with this album would be On or O-N. Is that O-N? How do you pronounce that? O-N?
I've just been saying On because it doesn't have dots, so yeah, I think it's On.
But they're both capitalized, though. Is that not? They're both capitalized, though. So the version featuring Sia.
Well,
no?
They have two versions, one with Sia and one with just the 7 members.
Anyway, that song is obviously meant to be sort of like a tentpole. It's the first video.
Yeah, they said it's the title track, so it's going to be the...
Oh, okay. They said that. Also, Friends. Friends was excellent. I think that I liked it more and more as it went on. It felt like very kind of like a Caribbean concert anthem-y vibe. Mm-hmm. Right? It's something, it has like chants, it has like people can get into it. It felt like a concert anthem.
Yeah.
Right? Like a rock anthem, right? And I think that Friends, I do like that song. And I like On. Mm-hmm. Of course, I like Ego. And I've gotten to like Black Swan. And the other ones, they haven't struck a chord with me yet.
Yeah, it's been less than a day, so it's hard to like
but at the same
make
time,
a decision on everything.
If you like 4 songs out of an album, that I would say that constitutes a good album. Not every song has to be good or memorable. Yeah,
I thought it was a really strong album.
Yeah.
And I don't remember hearing any song where I'm like, oh, this is a bad song, let me go to the next one. Like, that never happened. I feel like I liked every song, but then there's some that just like...
some were memorable for me.
Yeah, some
I don't
of
know
them,
they were bad, but they weren't memorable.
Some of them I remembered later, and so I was like, those must be the ones I like the most if I'm remembering how it goes later in my mind.
Moon was pretty good. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if you only have like 2 or 3 really good songs, really memorable songs from an album, that's still a great album. An album doesn't have to be, 10 great songs or anything. That's never been the standard for a great album.
Yeah. And with this album, because it was the second one, and we know Map of the Soul Persona had the songs that it had, so this one would have to have new solos, so different solos than were in
right.
the...
I heard a lot of solos.
Love Yourself. Yeah. So it was interesting to see what those turned out to be, and I didn't
like any of the solos except for J-Hope's, though. Did you like some of them?
I like Filter.
Filter was not bad. True.
That was a good song. It reminded me, it was a Jimin song. It reminded me of like the beginning of it kind of was like a Shawn Mendes song. It was like starting with some guitar, and the song, I looked at the lyrics too, and it was like the song was about
I like the
him and a girl, So I thought
it seemed to have different vibes, different sounds.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
It was very upbeat, and if you remember, like Love Yourself, his solo was Serendipity, so that's kind of a slower song, which I love that song, but at least now he has like kind of a more upbeat song for a solo.
Right.
And let's see.
So I think it was a great album.
What did you think was the message of it overall?
Oh, I'm not one of those types of people
Yeah, I'm not here to interpret albums, but just the feeling I was getting.
But if I were to put my, how do I say this, over interpretive hat on, I would say it did have to do with sort of their progression as artists, and especially as they grapple with, what is their future as a group, because it's questioned right now. They have to deal with enlistment potentially. They have to, that's all up in the air. So I think that is part of the theme of it. And do they normally have this many solos? No, right?
Well, for Love Yourself, they did, but then that was spread over 3 albums. So I don't know if since they decided Map of the Soul was going to be 2 albums, it's like, all the solos have to be on this one.
Okay, I don't know how like things are like 3 albums or 2 albums. Like usually it's just an album is an album. But anyway. It does seem like maybe they were like dealing with the mortality of their group a little bit more, and they were playing around with what it would look like, when people are cycling through enlistment.
They did have a lot of subunits,
in
addition to the solos, which you expect the solos, but then it seemed like there maybe more subunits than normal.
Right.
They had like a vocal line song and a rap line song, and then it was just like 2 or 3 of them on it. So that might be with that in mind. It's like, well, we might have to have songs that just don't have everybody on it. Right.
So I do feel like they were sort of addressing that. And is that good? I think no, it's not. It probably means that they're going on enlistment. But they have a plan. They have a way to sort of tackle that. You just have to trust them. BTS will still exist even when people are enlisted. That's sort of what this album is saying. It did seem
like We Are Bulletproof, The Eternal was kind of a final message, or it was a kind of like, we're...
Really? I didn't read that much into it. What did it say?
We're 7, but then, we have the army too with us.
Oh, okay.
But it seemed like a positive ending message, like if they went to enlistment, then that would be kind of their positive message. But I felt like overall it did have a lot of positive messages. It was like, I just got a lot of inspirational vibes, and it was like 7 guys that have observed the journey they had, and then they're wiser now, and they understand what they've been going through, and they're strong now.
Yeah.
These are not guys that are like going to fall apart if someone says something mean online, They like get it. They understand what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, at this point, they're not going to fall apart if someone says something mean. But the group is going to go on. I think the album overall is good. Like, the songs that grow on you. Are they as catchy as previous? Maybe no, but I think that they sort of branch out into different types of sounds. So that is a good thing. Let's talk about the video. The one video that was released, which I didn't understand was a music video. At first, I thought it was... kind of like the performance art video from before.
That's what I thought. Based on the description.
Gonna be another damn performance art video.
I thought it would be another video of other people that were not BTS performing.
But then I watched it and they were all dancing. It's like, wait, no, this is just a video. Mm-hmm. Cool. Excellent. It was, what was it called? ON. What are we going to call this? On or ON?
I'm just going to say on.
On. So it was on. Was it the Sia version in the video or no?
I don't think so. Because with Sia it's supposed to be only a digital version, so I don't think that would be on the video.
So they were obviously at this point everybody has seen the video. So they're in the desert or something, and they have backup dancers, and they're dancing, and it's what is the video called? Kinetic something, right?
The Kinetic Manifesto.
And that's a very apt description because it's very kinetic. It has a lot of energy in it, in the way it's filmed and the way their dance is.
What did you think about On overall? Did you like the title track?
Well, at first I didn't like it that much, but then about maybe the 5th listen, I did start to like it. What I like about it is it doesn't sound very K-pop. It could have been a song done by any American artist, to be honest, which I think is good. I think that they're broadening the scope of what they're doing. It doesn't sound uniquely K-pop. If you want classic K-pop sound, there's still plenty of artists that do that.
Yeah.
But I think it's important since they're number 1, and it's sort of on them to broaden the scope and appeal. I don't know. There's 2 ways of looking at this. Do you broaden the scope and appeal by changing yourself and broadening your appeal, right? making yourself more mainstream for Western audiences? Or do you serve them what is uniquely you? What brought some people to your subculture in the first place? I'm not going to say I definitely know which was the right answer, but I think broadening yourself is the right answer. I think it is. It's kind of like meeting audiences halfway, right?
Right.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Even though there are a ton of people in the West who love K-pop, already are on board, don't want it to change to appeal to Western audiences. That's still probably a minority of people. I don't think a majority of people are K-pop fans in the West. So if you want it to be much more mainstream, meet them halfway. The sound sounds very. It could be any Western act doing this song. I think they are changing their sound to meet them halfway. They're not meeting them all. They're not totally selling out their roots, right? It's still mostly in Korean.
Yeah.
It's not an English song, right? It doesn't have like a ton of Western collabs. It doesn't have just like a long list of Western artists who are on it. And now it doesn't even feel like a K-pop album, right? It still feels like one. But it clearly is trying to branch out, have more of a Western sound. Part of that might be did they take on new songwriters or producers? And maybe they did, right? So I think that's great. And it doesn't mean that K-pop is getting polluted or anything like that. There's still plenty of people making that same sound. You can still consume their stuff.
Yeah, it's like the people that critique BTS the most are people that say, oh, they got too Western. They're catering too much to the Western audience. I don't even think that's an intentional thing that they're doing. They're just exposing themselves to all the sounds and all the producers that are out there. And they're just like, oh, we're just going to take, the best of the best. And it doesn't matter if it's, Korean or Western or whatever. It's
mean, if you take songs written by Ed Sheeran or whatever, well, Ed Sheeran is going to make songs that sound Western.
Yeah. And it's like, why would you turn him down just because he's British? It's like, should you not use him just to stay more Korean?
He's still a great songwriter. Obviously, if you can work with such a person, you should.
Yeah.
But what's going to happen is now you're going to have a song that sounds Western. That's not a bad thing. You're going to produce better product, but you are going to move in that direction.
Yeah.
That is going to happen.
And making music is about following the influences that you're following at the time. So I think that it makes sense, BTS being as international as they are. That's going to have a lot of different types of sounds and songwriters.
So that's normal. And if you want a K-pop sound, there's plenty of people who will do it. But BTS has the ability to work with so many other producers that they're naturally just going to have a more Western sound, right? Because so many of these quality producers are from the West.
Yeah.
Right? That's
just
the
how
way it is. That's just how it is.
That's where the music industry is.
That's not saying there's not good songwriters in Korea, but most of them are not. Most of them are in America because that's where you can make the most money, obviously, right? And then maybe some in the UK. But that's where it's going to be concentrated.
And what did you think of, they had a version of On that has Sia and one that doesn't have Sia. That's just the group.
Which is the version that's in the video?
Just the group. That's
really the only one I'm familiar with. I mean, I can't really tell the difference that well, to be honest with you.
Well, that's what I wanted to bring up because I don't see that anyone said it, but I feel like Sia's role was very minimal in this song.
Yeah.
Even though
have like a long solo?
It says featuring Sia, but you don't hear her really except on the chorus, and she's singing the same part as they are. But I mean, I can tell that's her voice. It's her. She adds a good depth to it.
Doesn't really change it too much.
No.
It's a bad collaboration. I think we can say it. I can't tell what it is that she adds. Doesn't really add anything. She's like a background track singer.
Yeah, I just hear her voice on the chorus, like, and singing the same part that they're singing. But I'm just wondering why Big Hit or whoever decided this, why did they not give her like one line that's just by herself?
Well, was she involved in the productions? No, right?
Probably not.
Well, what happened was, I'm betting what happened was they wrote the song. Judging by the fact that there's two versions on the album, the song existed for a long time as its own thing. Mm-hmm. Very late in the game, Sia said, "Hey, I would like to work with BTS," and then the album was written. Work with us how? We're not going to write a new song. We're not going to do anything. We can't even if we wanted to, right? We're not going to learn a new song, write a new song, etc., etc. It is what it is at this point.
It's like we have a release date. Maybe maybe she agreed to it very late.
And then maybe she said, "Well, can I just like sing a background track on one of them, and then they picked one. They found one. And I'm like, just sing some backing on this one. I think that's what happened, right? Because there's 2 versions of it. Why would there be 2 versions of it?
Right.
I mean, the fact that they don't have her in the video version says a lot too. I feel like, why wouldn't they could have easily used her in the video version, right? It's not a longer video song or anything like. Was there's a difference in length or anything?
No, it's exactly the same.
Yeah, they could have easily just done that, but I feel like the video was done. It was in the can.
Oh, so you're saying the music video and everything was filmed already?
Everything is done. I think that her contribution, she just came in very late and said, "Hey, I'd love to lend my name. Can I sing something?"
She's probably like, "Oh, I'm hearing about BTS. Right. I really want to work with you guys."
And then the only thing they could give her was, "You can sing backing on this thing, and we'll release the second version." So as a collaboration, it was terrible. I don't think they collaborated at all.
Oh, that's very interesting. Yeah, I was just thinking maybe they intentionally limited her part for whatever reason.
No. She's a good vocalist. She's a better vocalist than Halsey.
Yeah.
I believe she's a better vocalist than Halsey.
Definitely someone they could have taken more advantage of with her voice.
She should have a solo on something.
There probably wasn't even a part written for her at that point.
No.
Because I was like, how come she didn't have like one line that's a solo or something?
Because she came into it late.
That has to be it.
And she wanted to attach herself. I'm not saying in a conniving way or anything like that.
Right.
She just wanted to be involved. And maybe it just happened too late. So that's all they could give her.
The only problem is, and I'm fine with that, the only issue is I think if you're a Sia fan and you click on this song and you think you're going to hear Sia, it's like you don't really hear her very much. And maybe...
And you might be angry?
Yeah.
Well...
You're going to be like, what is this? There's no Sia on it.
Well, are there Sia fans? Are there even Sia fans? Probably. There must be.
Would you say she's like A-list?
I don't know. She seems to occupy this weird place in my mind where she obviously produces quality music, but does anyone really love her? She doesn't even let you see her face.
She's very well known as a songwriter. I don't know as an artist, and I don't know if she even like does concerts because she can't be seen.
She doesn't do concerts. She doesn't let you see her face. I don't think anybody's really a fan of hers. I think people respect her work, of course, but I don't think people love her or are her fan.
Yeah.
Her video has some weird kid.
She's a person who's known more for her songs than
so
like people.
I don't think anybody's a Sia. I don't think anybody will tune in and be upset. Like, where's Sia? No, I don't think so. I don't think anyone's a Sia.
That's true.
fan.
I don't think I've ever seen online like I am a diehard Sia fan, and
why would you be? Yeah. She's a reclusive songwriter.
She probably just has a lot of casual fans. Like, if you hear her songs and, like, they're good songs, it's like, oh, okay, I like that song. But then you may not necessarily be...
I don't think those are even her fans, though.
Yeah.
Those are people who like
casual.
good songs. Like, I like good music. Well, you don't like Sia. You only like her when she produces good music. The true test of a fan is if they will love your shit music. Right? And I see a lot of true fans out there in the K-pop world. I have to say, they have the best fans. I've been fans of groups throughout my quote-unquote fan of groups and music throughout my life. But I was not a great fan or a big fan because whenever they produce crap, I will call it out as crap. I'll say, I'm done. This is crap. But it seems like in K-pop, they won't call it out. They'll just say it's great anyway.
Yeah, it's about loyalty in K-pop. Sia
has no such loyal fans. People who like her only like her as long as she produces good music.
Yeah, I think it's people that like her songs. They don't necessarily like her.
Yeah, that makes sense. She doesn't have a V Live. She's not on Twitter. She's not on Instagram. She's not sharing parts of her life.
She's like the opposite of a K-pop person.
She's the opposite of a K-pop person.
It's like she's never seen
she doesn't even show
reality.
Her face. Do we know what she looks like? I just see sunglasses and wigs.
I've seen pictures of her.
Oh. So she's not that reclusive.
Because she's gone to...
She's not like Gorillaz or something.
No. She's gone to some events
been
looking
seen,
normal.
By the way? I mean, they have been seen.
Not that I know of. Like at a concert or whatever. No, I don't think so.
For people who are too young, Gorillaz are this group. They're a rock group where they have like cartoon representations of them. Even in concerts.
Well, doesn't Daft Punk do that too? They have like those...
They have helmets.
Yeah. Have they ever been seen or no?
This is a good question.
I don't keep up with groups like that, so I have no idea. I'm sure people know what they look like, though. Like, how do you hide that in the internet age?
Right. With Daft Punk, who cares, though? You know my opinion, my low opinion of EDM DJs. They produce good music, but as performers, you're literally just pressing play. That's what I believe. That's the truth. I know it to be true because one saw Steve Aoki in Vegas, okay? And he pressed play, everyone was happy or whatever, and then he was like running around the stage and high-fiving people, and he threw a cake at people, and he. So what does the music need from you at this point? Nothing. Obviously, you press play, the music is good, sure. You are a good music producer. I'm not taking that away from you. But why do I need to see you do this in person? It's not like you're a great vocalist and, oh, amazing. I saw Steve Aoki sing in person and you don't have that. You can never, because you didn't see them in person. No, a person who plays his songs on Spotify experiences the same exact music that I experienced in person. The only thing I got to see is him running around like an idiot throwing cakes at people.
Yeah. It didn't look like he was hard at work mixing music.
And then he did some crowd surfing, and then, champagne bottles were sprayed at people. And, if you've ever been in Vegas, this is what happens. Like, girls, want champagne. Anyway, it's entertaining in its own way, but no one could say that, hey, this really adds to the music. I experienced a whole new level of his music because I got to witness him spraying alcohol at hot girls and throwing cake at people and jumping into crowds. Yeah, it added excitement, sure, but a lot of things add excitement to music, but none of them enhance the music. As a music artist, you experience everything you need from him as a music artist, just hitting play on Spotify, because that's all he does in a concert. Okay, where was I? EDM artists.
He is a lot of fun to watch, though.
Yeah.
If you see him in person, it's a fun time.
EDM artists, Sia, right?
People who we've never seen, their faces.
Right. So, but that's not fair. Sia sings. If you saw her in concert, she would sing.
Yeah.
So it's not quite the same thing. But yeah.
Well, and I was thinking, because you mentioned you think that her audition happened late in the game, and I was thinking, well, maybe they worked with Sia, and since she's never appearing in videos, they didn't even use her in the video. So
just because you don't appear
that's
in video,
an out.
You could have a solo. You could have a longer.
True.
You can sing something substantial.
Yeah.
I couldn't even recognize the difference. I listened to. I saw that there are two different versions. I listened to both of them. They sound the same to me. So I feel it was just tacked on, and I'm sure they like her. So they said, "Yeah, we want you to participate, but this is all we can give you."
I do think they are trying to appeal more to the Western audience this time, and they probably wanted to work with her and include her if they could.
Yeah, they're trying to appeal more to Western audiences. And here's another good reason to appeal to Western audiences. We have a different attention span and expectation for the time frame of what an artist is, right? Meaning you going to the military for 2 years is not important at all. It's not like we're wondering, is this the death knell of your career? If Taylor Swift said tomorrow that she's taking a 2-year break for whatever reason, and she might actually be able to write some music in that time. And she can't tour. She can't go on talk shows, right? For 2 years. And you might think, oh, that's kind of long. That sucks, I guess. But you wouldn't think, oh boy, is this the end of your career? Would you think that?
No.
No, you would just say, oh, okay, 2 years. I'll see you then.
Yeah, I'll see you in 2 years.
I'll see you in 2 years. You probably have some good music ready in 2 years. A lot of people have gigantic hiatus. 2 years? That's actually short.
That's a normal cycle.
Yeah, that's not even normal. That's short.
Yeah.
In the West. That's short in the West. If they have, who does a 1 year break? Let me ask you, who does a 1 year break in the West? Nobody.
Oh, I've only seen a lot of continuous albums from Mariah Carey. There was a stretch where she was.
When? I don't remember.
She released albums really fast.
When?
I forget when, but there was a new album each year for a couple of years.
Oh.
And I don't remember this. And it was thought of unusual.
Oh.
It's why do you have so many songs? That's weird. You just released an album a year ago.
Yeah, I don't remember that. A year apart?
Well, that's the only example I can think of.
Well, I don't remember any. Look
at her discography. She has a lot of albums.
Well, yeah, I agree she has a lot of albums, but I don't know that it was 1 year apart. I think it might have been 2 years apart. The quickest turnaround ever for an American artist that you're remembering, I believe is 2 years apart. I'm just thinking that, okay? And
okay. I just thought of an example.
What? Who?
Ariana Grande's from Sweetener to the next album was really fast. But then everybody thought that was weird. It's like, why is this?
Yeah, exactly. People thought it was weird, see?
Yeah.
They thought it was weird. And then even Taylor Swift, her turnaround was faster than people thought it would be, remember? Mm-hmm. And it was 2 years, wasn't it? Like Reputation was 2017, and then Lover was like 2019, right?
Yeah.
And people thought that was a quick turnaround because when was 1984? 1989. It was like 2016, 2015? No, it was bigger than a 2-year gap though, for sure, right?
Since we have computers.
Right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, 1989 was 2014.
Yeah, so that's a big gap. 2014 to 2017. Or 2017, right?
Yeah, 2014 and then 2017 for Reputation.
3 years. That's about normal for a person who wants to put out music often.
Yeah, and Lover was 2019.
Right.
So then that was like a short cycle.
A lot of people have cycles of like 5 years. And there's some people, a lot of you won't remember this because this is very old and at this point obscure, but there was a great album and a great artist, Lauryn Hill, put out like a Grammy Award winning album, which was like groundbreaking because it mixed R&B, hip hop, and it was so mainstream and so good, and obviously acknowledged. It won a bunch of Grammys, right?
Yeah.
And people said, "Oh, she's the next biggest thing, whatever." She never put out another album. I don't know what the hell she did. You might want to look into it, but she's like 15, 17 years later. It's like, what are you doing?
It's like, wow.
So much around 5, people were asking, what's going on?
So much potential.
Yeah, around 10, people forgot, actually. But it took that long. Around 4 or 5, people were scratching their heads, and they still remember her, though.
Yeah.
And then people still want to work with her, and she could have.
It takes like 5 years, though, and people are like, is this person okay?
Right. But then it went to like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and now people said, wow, are you ever going to make music again? But even then, she still has a career. She still tours or whatever.
Yeah, I think she does like smaller venues.
She's just smaller venues, yeah. And you know what? It's not even really over for her. If she really put out good music right now, people come back.
She could be back like that.
Yeah, people come back.
You know?
She's still,
she could be on top.
She has the same amount of talent. She is a great singer. She's a great artist. Please do. I mean, she's not. When I say back, I mean it's not she's dead or she's not working, but she's not putting out big music with big producers, right? Unfortunately, if she could, that would be great. That would be great. I welcome her back. It would be a lot better than like Lizzo or whatever. And they do kind of occupy some of the same space.
Yeah.
So yeah, just let that sink in. If you're old enough to remember the quality of music that Lauryn Hill put out in like 2000, and then now look at the quality of music that Lizzo. I'm sorry if you like Lizzo, but I just don't. And you compare these two things, you will see just starkly. I'm just going to leave it at that. Just compare those two. I don't think I even have to make an assertion. Just juxtapose one versus the other, and I invite you to draw your own conclusions about it. Okay? If your conclusions is that, great, this is a wonderful progression. I love where it's come to. I think that this R&B, women singing R&B music, R&B/hip hop music, which Lauryn Hill is R&B/hip hop. She's not an R&B artist. Right. Remember, she was in the Fugees, so she was in a rap group for a long time. It's not like she's just a singer, right? She was a singer/hip hop artist.
Yeah, she didn't just do soulful ballads.
It wasn't just like, oh, you're a singer or whatever. It was like, no, she was this sort of hybrid, right? And everyone loved it and was respected and was great.
Well, she kind of started that.
I'm not sure she's... yeah. I don't want to say... No, yeah. Started it in like the mainstream consciousness. Right. She definitely was the first big person, for sure. Just juxtapose those two people. And tell me if you think that we've gone forward or back.
I do think the genre was better in the early 2000s.
Yeah. You just tell me. All right?
Lizzo is just benefiting right now from... There's like not other artists like Lauryn Hill out
Lizzo's
right now.
benefiting from people wanting to virtue signal about diverse bodies or something. They're like, we're so proud of you, this and that. But that's your political leanings, and you want to express a political point of view. Like, well, this is my political point of view, and it's just sort of embodied by this person. Hey, that's great. I'm not saying your politics are bad or anything, but what does that have to do with music, man? You know, your whatever your politics are, it just doesn't necessarily correlate with good music.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the genre of music, not which politics you're saying that you're part
like,
of.
I'm not going to say I agree or disagree with your politics. I disagree, by the way. But that's neither here nor there. What I am saying is when you're talking about what music we should praise, we should be praising the music. We should be judging the merits of the music, right? Because in 30 years, no one's going to care about the very specific politics that cause you to say, Lizzo's this. Oh my God, she promotes diverse bodies in this. This is why we love Lizzo. In 30 years, they're not going to care about those politics. They're just going to judge the music and the videos, etc. And they're going to say, wow, you guys like crap.
Yeah, it's like if you go back and listen on your Spotify, you're not going to know about all of that part of it. You're going to just listen to just the music.
But I invite you to go listen. Spotify, it's easy, it's accessible. Open up your Spotify and listen to Lauryn Hill music right now. Not just her big songs. Listen to her whole album, by the way. Her whole album has like 8 or 9 songs that are all better than Lizzo songs. I guarantee you, because I listen to that whole album a lot. They're all better than what Lizzo has. And I'm not even saying Lizzo has bad music. It's just not. Is this the best that this genre has to offer? If it is the best, then that's a sad state. That's a sad statement. It's not like it's inaccessible music either. This is only 20-year-old music. Now, I have some weird music tastes. Like, I like American standards, and that's like music that was first sung like in the 1930s, okay? And you like that music too. And when I tell people that I like that sort of music, it is inaccessible in a way, because if I ask them to listen to music tracks from the recorded in the 1930s, or even when Sinatra, that's like Frank Sinatra type music, a lot of them, right? But he was covering all these things.
He covered them like a generation
like
later.
A lot of people, and I don't blame you because this is super old.
This is a long time
You
ago.
think this is Frank Sinatra music. So American standards, when I say American standards, it means like the music that Frank Sinatra sings. You'll say, oh yeah, that's Frank Sinatra music. No, it is not Frank Sinatra music. When he sang it, it was already 30 years old. He's covering it. They were sung by like Fred Astaire mostly, these Gershwin songs, these Cole Porter songs in the 30s. But it's really hard for me to recommend people go to that source material and experience that true original music because the audio quality is not good. It's just the technology is not good. It's not easy or pleasant to listen to old music because the way it was recorded, it doesn't sound great, honestly.
Yeah, it's like might be crackly or not have a lot of depth to it.
Yeah, and this is music. It's an audio experience, right? So it's going to affect it if the recording quality is not great. So it's hard to recommend. It's hard to make people understand how great it was. The barrier is technology, right? But when you're talking about Lauryn Hill, there is no such barrier. The technology is plenty great in 2000. The music sounds great. It doesn't sound any worse than anything recorded now, okay? Go ahead and listen to it and tell me if this genre of women singing hip-hop / R&B has improved from like it's a logical progression from Lauryn Hill to Lizzo. And I think you will agree with me that it has gotten way worse. And part of that is Lauryn Hill's fault because she went off a cliff and stopped doing music. She's still alive. There's no reason she shouldn't still be doing music. But, there it is. That is my long tangent about Lizzo. Oh, also listen to American Standards. Michael Bublé sings that stuff.
They're very accessible now.
Listen to Michael Bublé. He sings that stuff.
Also, Robbie Williams had a good couple of albums.
That's right.
He's a current artist, so that's accessible.
And American Standards don't change. It's like the same 45 songs. And then you just search those songs, and each song will have dozens of covers because that's why they call it a standard, kids.
And they're just so well written that they hold up each time you hear it, even different cover versions. So, something to try out.
Yeah. And then there's not even the excuse of, the audio quality is poor because, modern people have covered them plenty of times.
Well, Lady Gaga even had
Lady Gaga did her, she collaborated with Tony Bennett. Like when Lady Gaga collaborated with Tony Bennett, that's American Standard songs.
Yeah.
Listen to those.
That was a really good album.
Yeah.
So back to Map of the Soul 7.
Uh-huh.
So the songs that stood out to you, I think you mentioned was Ego. You liked that a lot.
Ego, that's my favorite.
Did any other songs? Friends. Oh, okay. Yeah, Friends. I really liked Friends.
Friends is also very Western sounding.
Yeah. Like if you just listen to like the melody of it.
It has a kind of like a rock stadium anthem vibe. You know, it would be like what a rock group would sing at the end of a concert. You know, it has that feeling. It also has sort of it doesn't sound K-pop. It doesn't sound like K-pop. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I think that's great that they're branching out. It has these different sounds.
I don't know why, but it kind of reminded me of Rihanna, I'll Drink to That. It just kind of...
Yeah, exactly.
It was like a closing of the night kind of song. Like, oh, we're all singing together. We're friends. You know?
So, yeah.
It was like that vibes.
Oh, so yeah, Friends is a great, I don't want to say rock anthem, like concert anthem. The Rihanna comparison is apt, though. It just gets people, like, I'm sure we're going to hear it when we go to the concert.
Yeah, I'm sure
it's clearly a concert
be on there.
Sort of song. And I just enjoy it. And the sound is different. And I like that one. I like Ego. I like On. To be honest, nothing else really struck me that much. I haven't listened. You know, I'm not the same level of BTS fan as you, so I haven't listened to that other stuff. I'm pretty quick to pull the trigger on things. Sometimes, and that will be to my detriment. I'll dismiss a song. I'll say, I don't really like it. And I won't listen to it. But then later on, other people will say, we love that song. We love that song. And I'll think, really? Why?
Uh-huh.
And then I'll listen to it again, and then I'll realize, oh, yeah, I can see it now. Right? That happens to me quite a bit, actually. Like, I don't give songs a fair shake. But at the same time, I don't feel like it's my obligation to give songs a fair shake. It's my time, right? I can listen to what I want to listen to, and if I don't want to give them short shrift, then I can. But I do change my mind on songs a lot later on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens. And nor do I think I'm wrong. It's like, again, I don't owe artists or songs like 20 listens to see if it's really, really good, right? It's like, and if I miss out on good songs because of this, then, well, that's my loss, right? So no big deal. It's not unfair or anything like that. But nothing else really struck me. So what I'm trying to say is I am still allowing for the idea that it will later on. But right now, I only like 3 songs off the album. And that might sound like a criticism, but I don't think it's a criticism because that's usually the number of songs I like off a good album. I don't like 100% of songs off an album. I think the only times I've liked 100% of songs off an album were like, well, I was just talking about the Lauryn Hill album. That was awesome. And actually, you know what? Reputation. I'm not a huge Swiftie or anything like that. I just want to get that out there. I'm not a huge Swiftie or anything like that. Oh, Teenage Dream. Katy Perry, Teenage Dream.
Oh, yes.
And I am a big Katy Perry. Actually, that's fair to say. I like them both. I like Katy Perry as a person more. So then I tend to say that I'm a bigger fan. But if you actually look at the brutal reality of my listening habits, which tell the truth, where you may like to, you know, disguise it with lies that you tell yourself and others. The lie that I like to tell myself and others is I like Katy Perry better. But if you look at my actual listening habits, I suspect I listen to Taylor Swift a little bit more. And her music's that good, you know? Her music is just that good. And you look at the Reputation album, it has like 6 or 7 good songs. That is unheard of. Maybe you don't agree, but that's my opinion.
I do think it's your Spotify list that says whatever you played the most that year is the ultimate judge. Like, it's not, I said I'm a stan of this. Right. That doesn't tell you.
And 1984 had like 5 good songs, you know? So, yeah, probably Taylor Swift is the only modern example where you can say, wow, all the songs are good. That's a high standard. No, if 3 are good, that is enough for me. That is more than enough. If the rest are crap, it's not a criticism at all. It is just, I didn't like the other songs. 3 good songs are great. Mm-hmm. And that's what I think they have.
When I listen to a full album, usually I can't decide after a couple listens. Like, did I like this song or that song? Right. I don't know yet. And it takes me a while to figure that out. But yeah, this album, Map of the Soul 7, I thought I would like it and I had high expectations, but I actually do like the majority of the songs. And the ones that stood out to me were On. That one, it has a good hook. And so On, and also Friends. And I really like Filter, which was Jimin's solo song. I thought that was a really strong song on there. And like a Shawn Mendes or like an Ed Sheeran type of song.
I don't remember it that much. It didn't strike me. But yeah, it's sort of like Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, because it started out with like guitar,
Oh.
and it was just kind of like that kind of a song. It's like singing to a
I think
girl.
I did remember. I remember that a lot of the songs did sound very unique, which is good to me. I think they all explored, and I think that is a natural byproduct of the fact that a lot of them were solos, right?
Yeah.
So probably each member had the liberty to sort of pursue whatever sound they were trying to pursue. And so you had an album that had very divergent sounds, which I think is good. Why not? If you have 7 members, why not?
Yeah, and it sounded like from interviews and articles and things that the solo songs that the member doing that song would have input in how that was produced. So they were able to make it more unique for them.
Yeah.
But you know what was weird is, did you like Inner Child?
I can't say I did because I'm not really that familiar.
Well, that was V's solo.
Right.
And to me, that was one of the songs that I was like not blown away by. That and Louder Than Bombs.
Mm-hmm.
But with V, I almost think like he's like not getting the priority on solo songs. Like it seems like he doesn't get the good songs for solo. And I don't know if it's because he doesn't like work that much as the others in the production of it.
Yeah.
Or he just gets, whatever song that they have that's, oh, we think this is a good song. And okay, V, you can sing it. But
maybe.
Because I didn't really like Singularity. That was his last song. And I didn't really like it.
A lot of people did like that, though.
Yeah.
Is that not true?
I mean, it's a very specific genre, though. So I think if you really like that, it's because you really like the when they do R&B, like hardcore R&B.
Yeah. And I don't, and here's why. And this is gonna rub some people the wrong way, but I don't care. I say what the hell I want to say. When they do R&B, there's nothing wrong with it. I think I don't dislike R&B, okay? In fact, I probably like R&B more than most of you who are listening. I grew up a fan of like Boyz II Men, Jodeci, things like that, okay? So anyway, I'm a bigger R&B fan than you. Just trust me on that, okay? I'm so big of an R&B fan, I remember when Usher was young. You think of him as an old man. It's like, if I say Usher to you, what do you think? It's like, oh yeah, that old guy who was the mentor of Justin Bieber. Like, really? That's how you remember him? I remember when he was young.
Oh my God. When
it's
he first came out.
I can remember when he was the little young Turk and his mentor was Prince. Remember that? But yeah, I remember when he was young. So I'm just establishing my R&B credentials. Back to the point. I guess I'll just rip the Band-Aid off. BTS, they're not good R&B singers. The end. They're just not good at it. They're not good at it. They do not have the vocal chops to be great R&B singers. It doesn't mean they're bad singers. It's just like their singing is great and appropriate for the type of music they do. But when they try to branch out to R&B, that's just not the same. And if you don't believe me, then just listen to, like Boyz II Men, Jodeci, stuff like that. And people who just have more vocal ability, right? They just have more powerful voices. You can say a lot about what BTS can do, and they can do a lot of things that all these other groups can't do. Absolutely. But really belting out one of these songs is not one of them. There's like groups that they're just better at belting out these songs. And so that's why I think that when they do R&B songs, it's not really in their wheelhouse, and it's just not going to sound quite as good, right? So that's why when they do an R&B song, it doesn't excite me or anything. I don't think they do a poor job of it, but am I going to go... Let's just put it this way. Do you go to McDonald's when you want to order a taco? Even though sometimes they do serve tacos, right? They serve like breakfast burritos or something like that, right? No, you go somewhere else because it's not really in their wheelhouse. It's not going to be the worst thing you've ever eaten, sure. But, it's not their wheelhouse. You're not going to go there for that. So I don't go to BTS for really power singing and R&B, stuff like that.
I just thought Singularity was so different from all the other songs on the album. It just seemed like they just got it from somewhere and like, here, V, this is your song. So
yeah, that could have been the
you
case.
sing it. And it just was so slow, the tempo of it. Mm-hmm. I just couldn't get into it.
When I saw it in concert, I was just pretty bored. I'll be honest with you. I think if you love him and you love them and you're a fan, of course, I think, you know what? It's more like fan service. Because it's like a love song to the fans, and they kind of get into it, right?
Yeah.
So I think on that level, it does work, and it does appeal to people, because it kind of feels like he's singing to you or something. It's like a ballad, and I think so. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's plenty of songs. They don't have to be the greatest song ever. Some of them can fill this niche, and some of them can fill that niche. And this one apparently is just fills the slow love letter to fans, fan service type song. That's fine, and that's what it is.
And I've seen comments from fans that they love Singularity, like that's their favorite. Like they love that
That's fine.
genre.
I think it's kind of
BTS
speaking
does.
to them,
Yeah.
So I can see why you would love it. I don't think you're dumb or whatever.
It's not wrong.
I don't think it's a great song, but there's no law that says you can only love a song because it's great musicality, Maybe you love a song for emotional reasons, or it touches you for whatever reason, Well, fine. But I think that's what it is. I don't think it's because it's a great song. So
yeah, and just for some reason, I just think he's not getting the best solo songs. I don't know if he's just.
Are you trying to say there's some sort of a discrimination against V or conspiracy?
No, I don't know.
V?
It's just maybe he's not as involved in the whole process, and he doesn't pick something that.
Do you think maybe he just doesn't care?
Maybe.
Yeah. Because
I always see the others that have more of producing involvement.
Right. Maybe he doesn't care. Maybe he's like, I'm gonna be an actor in 5 years or something.
Yeah, or it's like he's handed a song and he's like, that's a good song. Okay, I'll do
maybe
that.
You know what? Maybe he's not a musical person. You ever think of that? It's possible. Maybe he just doesn't love music the way the others do.
Yeah.
Maybe he was just his talents. He could sing. He's good looking. He could learn to dance. And people said, "Hey, be a K-pop star." And I was like, okay, that makes sense. And he did it, and he's good at it. Fine. But just because you did it and you're good, just like this is the same thing in sports, right? Sometimes there's people who are there and take a basketball player. They're super athletic. They're tall. They're good. They're this, and that. They don't have a passion for the sport. They just are not they don't love it.
Right.
You can't make people love something, but they have a body that made them great at basketball, and now they're playing basketball, and they're still really, really good. I'm not saying they're bad, right? But they don't have the same passion that other people have. And you can't teach that. You can't force that.
Is it kind of like Michael Phelps? It's like he has a body for swimming, and he's really good at swimming. Maybe
no, I
he
think Michael Phelps has a passion for it.
Do you think he'd love swimming?
I think he does. I think he has a passion for it.
Okay.
Because he would have quit after the first 2 Olympics. He already won 20 gold medals or whatever, and he could easily just coast on that, right? But he still came back to compete, so I think he loves it. That's a bad example. I think a better example would be Shaq. Shaquille O'Neal's you need to be a basketball player. Your body is so once in a generation, and nobody can compete with your physical being. So go play basketball, man. He didn't even practice his free throws, for God. That's what I want to do. I want to construct a thesis right now that V is Shaq. He's going to be great at basketball. He doesn't have to practice. He doesn't have to care. He'll just be great. I think that's what V is.
Yeah.
He's so preternaturally good looking, and he can sing, and that's not totally fair. I mean, he works at the dance choreography, right? I'm sure he works harder than most people work at their jobs, okay? Let's be fair. And Shaq worked harder than a lot of people worked at their jobs, to be fair. But did he love basketball as much as some other basketball players? Did he work as hard as other basketball? No, absolutely not. He didn't.
Yeah, people like Michael Jordan who were just so into the sport.
Did he stay at practice longer than other people? No, he probably stayed the least. But physically, his talent was just so unprecedented. Couldn't stop him.
Yeah.
And I think that V might be just okay, well,
it's the same thing. He just has so much of the natural talent that a K-pop star needs.
Yeah,
he already has it.
And even if you said, "Oh, I don't really like being a K-pop star," everybody around you would say, "Well, too bad. Obviously, this is what you need to be doing. You won't make the same amount of money doing anything else. So can you just suck it up for the next 10 years and just do this?" That's the same thing that was said to Shaq. What if Shaq said, "My passion is to be a police officer," which is, by the way, I think what he is his passion.
Oh, really?
He even went and got a deputy, whatever.
I never heard that.
Yeah, wow. He did. That's what he would like to have done, I think.
Wow.
But he has the body that he has, so obviously what he needed to do was go play basketball and make millions of dollars.
You gotta work with what you have.
Well, that's not he wasn't relegated to it. He made hundreds of millions of dollars.
Millionaire.
Yeah. So I'm not crying for him, but same thing. I don't know what V's real passion is in life, but he can't do that thing. He has to just be a K-pop star. Look at them.
Right.
You have to be a K-pop star. That's what you got to do. Maybe in like 5 or 6 years, you can go do something else. But make your money in K-pop, which unfortunately is not as much as it should be. We've been over this with comparing it to Western, but yeah. But it's still a lot of money. It's still very, very good money. Like compared to the vast majority of the world, you're very blessed to make this amount of money. Go do it. It's only like 10, 15 years of your life.
Yeah. So for whatever reason, these solo songs are always kind of underwhelming to me. This album and the last album. I don't remember the previous albums, what his solo was, but that was what stood out a little bit to me because I didn't love his solo. So the songs that I play the most, probably Filter and On and Friends, and also Friends. The other thing about Friends is I'm surprised that people didn't predict this was going to be a song already, because the Jimin and V friendship is so well known because they're the same year in school, and they were let together pre-debut, so they had to go to school together like as trainees, and it's just really well known about their friendship. So of course they made a song about it now. And there's a clip from I don't know what Bon Voyage season, because I didn't watch that season, but I've seen the clip many times where it's like all the members wrote a letter to another member and then talking about, whatever nice things to say about them. And V's letter was to Jim, and it was talking about like what a great friend he was, and they've been through hard times and this and that. It was like a very like emotional letter, so it like makes sense that this was a song that's on this album. So
Oh, I didn't look into the lyrics that much. I just know it's called Friends.
Yeah, and it features V and Jim, and it's about their friendship.
Wait, does it not have everybody on it?
No, it just says them too.
Okay, I didn't know that. I thought everybody was on that track. That maybe it's not going to be in the concert then. No, I guess it probably could still be if it's popular.
Yeah, I mean that's another thing I was wondering is maybe they're gonna use because there was a couple songs where it just had 2 people on it, and before they've had songs where it's just the vocal line or just the rap line, and it's like, okay, well that's the time for the other couple people to take a break, but they could also use that as a transition in between solo, and it's be like even more of a break. So it's like if Friends has V and Jimin, and maybe like it's Jimin and then Friends, and then the V song that gives even more of a break to the others at that time. So I feel like they might use those subunit songs like that.
Makes sense.
And the other song I really like was 0 O'Clock. I don't know if you like that one.
Well, no, because it didn't make my list of things to talk about. So I listened to all of them, but it didn't strike me at the time.
It's a song that has all of the vocal line, and it's basically talking about if you had a rough day, it's like, don't worry, because it all starts over again at 0 o'clock, which it should mean midnight. So it was a very uplifting song, but it has a good melody too, so I think it stood out like that. And in the last concert we went to, the vocal line song was The Truth Untold, which is like a very like serious slow song. So I think I like that this is more of a upbeat song, so we'll probably see that at the concert. I tended to like, out of the whole album, I tended to like the vocal line songs more, but I did like the rap songs too, and I don't always like rap songs, so I thought that was good because they had good beats behind it. And like, how when you listen to a Drake album and the one song that's like, the single is like Hotline Bling or whatever, like you like that one song, but then you listen to the rest of the album and it's like it's just straight rap, like it doesn't have a good beat behind it, it's just like rapping the whole time. Well,
if you're talking about more recent Drake albums, I like 0 of more recent Drake albums.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't really like it other than whatever the big single is.
Right.
I don't.
But if you're talking about older Drake albums, I like the entire album. I don't know when did he become like from like a rap artist to more like an R&B artist? I don't know.
I just don't like a song that's just like 100% rap and there isn't really a hook,
Oh, okay, I get you.
And so I'm like afraid when the rap line has a song on BTS, because I don't want it to be that kind of a song. But in this album, the songs that were only the rap line, I still like them anyway because they had a really good beat and it had good
as a hook.
Yeah.
Well,
so
you're not a true rap aficionado then.
No, I guess
real
not.
rap songs often do not have a hook. You just have to appreciate the rap.
Yeah, it's just rap the whole time. There was that song Ugh that was just like basically that song is about online haters. It's people that are just like angry about things and then just, tweeting at everybody and just like spreading like negativity all the time. And there's like the whole song is about that in a way that's like standing up for K-pop idols. That song is like online bullying people. This is like what drives people to, oh, I need to take a break from my K-pop job, or that drives people to suicide. It's like, oh, I'm getting so many like negative comments about just doing my job. So that's kind of ironic that there was a song about just that. But I think overall it was a very good album. Like there's always high expectations for
I would say it's a good album.
For these top artists, there's always like high expectations, and a lot of times like they'll let you down. Like I'll listen to an Ariana Grande album or something, or Beyonce album, and it's like, oh my god, this is so great. But it's like actually not, and I only like one or two songs, and I hate that. But it's hard to not have an expectation going in. But I had that expectation, and it was actually very good. I think they lived up to a lot of the hype. Like there was a lot of good songs that I would still play. Like, I mean, we'll see on my end of the year Spotify. Like, but it's like I think I'm gonna like a lot of these songs for a while, and not because sometimes you listen to an album and then I stopped listening to it like 2 weeks later, and it not to be played ever again. But I think it was a pretty strong album, and it seems pretty clear they used a lot of good producers from like all the resources they had access to. And I think that was a very good idea to use some Western producers and songwriters. So I thought it was a pretty strong album, and I'm looking forward to hearing some of these songs live and seeing how that sounds.
Yeah, I think it should meet the expectations of all their fans. It didn't exceed my expectations, but it didn't fail my expectations either. Let's just put it that way. There's something for everybody. Whatever it is you like about BTS, they've got you covered. I mean, it's such a varied album, and there's something on it for everybody. I do appreciate that how much it is sort of branching out and being more Western, more international. It's not just a K-pop album. They're not just a K-pop group anymore. So I think it's totally fair for them to not sound just like a K-pop group. And if that turns anybody off, that's unfortunate, but I think it's good for them going forward. Hey, so I need to introduce, I want to talk about something from last week, which is, you know how last week we were talking about when people see 9 people and are like, what percentage, like, what's the chance that any one of them are gay?
Yeah.
Remember we talked about this at length last week? I was very confident when I was talking about it last week, but then I was thinking about it a little bit more after we were done, okay? And just full disclosure, all right, despite being Asian, I'm actually quite shitty at math. I'm not good at math. I only got like 690 on my math SATs. So unlike the typical Asian, I'm not good at math. But so I actually looked up, well, what is the chance? Let's say you have 9 people, right?
Yeah.
And the percentage chance that any single person is gay is X. If you go to Wikipedia, it's about 3%. Generously, it's maybe 5%, but let's go 3 because that's what Wikipedia says. What is it? I didn't know, but then I looked up how to calculate it, because I just want to be sure that I wasn't just totally talking out of my ass, right? So I looked it up, and so basically what you're going to want to do, if you want to know the exact answer, is you want to take the percentage chance that they're not gay, any single iteration, any single person, which in this case would be 97% or 0.97, right? And you're going to multiply that by 0.97 9 different times. And whatever number that comes up with, you're just going to subtract the 1 from it, which will come up with the likelihood that in a group of 9 people, that any particular person is gay, 1 or more, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's how you actually calculate it.
It's like when you flip a coin, it's like it's only 50% every single time.
Right. So if you flipped a coin 9 times and you were to ask yourself, well, how likely is it that I'll get at least 1 heads out of all that? You wouldn't say it's 50%, right? And you wouldn't say it's... Anyway, I just told you how to exactly calculate it.
Yeah.
Right? And if you run those numbers based on the likelihood, according to Wikipedia, that 97% 3% of the population is gay, and you have 9 people, it actually comes out to 23%, 23.9% that one of them will be gay.
Oh.
Which is, in fairness to me, I'm still correct that it's more likely than not that nobody's going to be gay.
Yeah. Because we were saying probably 0 of them.
There's still a 76% chance that nobody is gay.
Because you can only be 0 or 1. And
no, it could be multiple.
You're saying
this is just saying at least one. At least one.
Oh, okay.
Right? At least one. One or more within a sample of 9. Assuming that it's a 3% chance for any individual. In my defense, yes, I'm still correct. It's more likely than not that nobody is gay. 76% chance that nobody is gay. Mm-hmm. But I do want to acknowledge that 23 is higher than I kind of assumed that it would be. It is.
So it's 23% chance that one person.
One or more.
Okay.
Assuming that any single person, the chance is 3%. And if you bump it up to 5%, which likelihood for any single person, then it's like 40 something. So in all the cases, yes, it is still more likely than not that everybody is straight. But in fairness, it is higher than I thought it would be. Just like off the top of my head, just thinking about it without actually crunching the numbers.
Yeah.
But once I actually looked it up and crunched the numbers, it is a little more like I wouldn't bet my life that nobody if you got 9 people, I wouldn't bet my life that no one is gay, obviously.
Yeah.
Right? There is a 23% chance that at least one person is.
It's a little more of a chance than you thought.
Yes. It is more likely than I thought. It is definitely more likely than I thought it would be. Because I was saying things like, well, if you had 100 people, then of course I would accept that most likely that one of them is. But you don't even need to get to 100. Once you get to like 20, it is more likely than not that someone, if you have 20 people gathered, then more likely than not, one of those people is gay.
If there's 20, I would say there's 1.
Yeah. I mean, mathematically, that's what you would have to say too, right? You don't have to go all the way to 100. You just go to 20. But out of 9, yes, still, the facts are on my side. More likely than not, nobody is gay. I thought it would be like 15% of that.
Yeah.
Just like not based on anything. I just want to put that out there so nobody corrects me and like whatever.
Yeah, we're not trying to spread fake news or anything. We're trying to give you the real information.
Anyway, I explained my sort of poor math or whatever on the gay thing.
Okay.
I'm still right, but how do I say this? Less right than I assumed I was.
I still think 0 out of 9 out of twice are gay. That's still my position.
Yes. If you had to roll, let's say you had a bet and you could bet even money, you would bet that none of them are gay. But
if you're betting the under,
it's not the safest bet. Let's just put it this way, it's not the surest bet.
Yeah.
I wouldn't bet too much money on it, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet my life or life savings or anything.
Because there's about a 23% chance that you're wrong. One person out of 9 is gay. And a random set of 9 people, one person is gay 23% of the time. Anytime you gather 9 people, or if you're talking about our friends that we gather, it's like 100% chance that one's gay. But, we live in Northern California, and that's just the way it is here. But in general, random sampling, 9 people, 23% chance at least one is gay or LGBT or something. Or maybe you think that these days the definition of LGBT has expanded so much that there's no way only 3% of the population is LGBT. I would argue against that. I don't think there's evidence that you're correct. But let's say you're correct. Then that would, of course, affect the numbers that I'm talking about here. I worked from an understanding, which is what I got from Wikipedia, that 3% are gay. And that is generally understood in the sciences to be about accurate, okay?
Are you talking about like the Kinsey scale where it's like you're this percent gay, that you think like all those people count?
Right. Or like the people who are like, I'm this or I'm sort of leaning or whatever. Like it's kind of like
anything that's marginal is counted
fashionable
towards.
Now. They're like, well, I kissed a girl one time and blah, blah, blah. Like, come on.
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know if that's counts as your LGBT.
Right, exactly. So, depending on your definition, but going off the hard science and what I could look up, I'm still correct, but not as correct as I thought I would be because I'm not good at math. I think I've established that, and I had to look up how to do the math.
Thank you to our guest, Morgan. You can find BTS Happy Hour on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, Podbean, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. New episodes weekly. Please comment, review, or rate in the podcast platform you're using. Follow us on Twitter @OurBTS. Until next time, this has been the BTS Happy Hour. Thanks for listening, and remember, make every hour a happy one.